everybody. Welcome to the Game Junkie Show. I'm your host, Crystal, and I'm here today with three fucking epic and amazing first-time guests. The NXS cast is here with me today, so please welcome Mr. Daniel Dash.
What's up, everyone?
Waifu King, Kevin.
Hey!
And Twitter's most silent assassin, Jeremy. So
I love the
tonight-
nicknames.
I make it up as I go. I'm sorry. So tonight we're going to talk about the ladies in our life, but not those ladies. It's all about the queens of gaming. So we have all prepared a list of our top 5 favorite female characters, playable, non-playable, and it's going to be pretty exciting to see where that overlaps. And I've also asked the Game Junkie Twitter family to chime in. So every now and again, we'll go get some live opinions from those folks there. I figure it apropos, since we're talking about queens, that I go first, because I am technically the only
queen
on this
Yes.
show. So
But
number
you do-
5. Wait, what is it, Dad?
No, I was gonna say, but you do have the waifu kingdom here with you, though.
I do have white
Yes.
here with me, so it counts. I did make a backup just in case anybody argues my number 5 with me and say that doesn't count as a woman, but she's very much a woman. Do not tell me at number 5 that GLaDOS is not a woman.
Ooh.
GLaDOS.
Oh,
I love
absolutely.
Portal.
I love a bad guy look. I love
Yes.
good
Yes.
antagonist. I love it when a villain is just the best kind of evil, and evil doesn't get any better than GLaDOS. She's hilarious. She's witty. Portal 2 is already a masterpiece, but GLaDOS makes it so much better. Number 5 on the list is GLaDOS. Kevin, why don't you go next?
Okay. All right. So, man, we're starting with me, but I have to already throw up a spoiler flag.
Okay.
And I just want everybody to know that I got approval from the host herself, as long as I put a spoiler warning in front of it. So, spoiler warning. Do with that what you will.
What game are we doing a quick spoiler for?
Quick spoiler for Death Stranding.
Oh
So-
boy, I'm playing it. I can't avoid it. Oh shit, let's do
You
it.
can't avoid it. Because listen, I wanted to be like original and witty, and I was like, you know what? Let me just think about this really hard. And I actually had to redo my list multiple times. But I think the top of my list is Lou Porter Bridges from Death Stranding, the baby. Because, hear me out, without her, Sam would be dead, or at least repatriate a lot, because he wouldn't be able to see BTs, and he'd get in a lot of boss fights and die a lot. And listen, that beautiful, beautiful little baby living in a horrendous existence inside of that little jar in a state between life and death, had to go through immense stress and emotional terror throughout the game, because she gets really stressed out when you're around BTs because she can feel them, and it was horrible to hear her cry and be really grumpy about it. And every time she cried, I would stop and I would rock her, or more accurately in the game, she would just shake back and forth really hard because I was really bad at slightly rocking the controller. But it broke my heart every time. Anyway, so long story short, she's a total badass, and she saved Sam so that Sam could save her.
I love that. Check that out. Jeremy, I will go with you next. Who is your number 5?
So I will say that my choices are in no particular order.
Wait.
They will be now. Just make a good 5.
All right.
Go ahead.
Wait, Lou was my number 1. I ruined it already.
Wow, Kevin. You gotta save the best for last, bro.
Okay. From here on out, let's try to do things right, fellas. So let's just.
All right. In that case,
Okay.
I will go with a fairly new character. Slight spoilers.
Okay.
This is Kena, Bridge of Spirits, and the
Mm,
title character, Kena.
the Bridge of
she's-
Spirits.
Exactly. She is a basically guides spirits to the afterlife. So there's a lot of sadness there. She can get attached to these spirits. They kind of help her in her journey, and for her to kind of help them along, and then at the end just say a bittersweet bye. But overall, she's happy, and there's a certain like strength to that.
Yes.
That's way more strength than me.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
So
a great pick. I'm kind of I didn't know what everybody would pick, so far this has actually been really exciting. Dash, what about
Like,
you? What's your number 5?
Honestly, who could have guessed that we'd have GLaDOS, a baby, and a new character that just released like a month ago in the greatest female video game characters of all time. I am loving this so far. I'm loving like the original takes on this. I'd like to add a little bit to it. So let me just say, when creating my top 5 list, I wanted to create a list that was like personal to me, that they were impactful to me, but also impactful for the industry. And I'm going to start with one that was impactful for me. And let's get some Bloodborne love in here. Where are my Bloodborne people at right now? Eileen the Crow is just a bona fide badass. So like when you think of Bloodborne and you think of like the iconic sort of characters, you have the hunter, and then you have the crow outfit, usually worn by Eileen. And Eileen's story is it's an interesting one. She's a mysterious character. She's the hunter of hunters. So like hunters that have gone in like drunk with bloodlust, she goes after them and hunts those hunters down, which is completely like so cool. And like the rest of the characters on the list so far, she's atypical. Like she's like really old. She's like over 65 years old and still going around Yarnum with the blades of mercy slashing wild hunters down. And she's got like a really interesting story. She is not a playable character. She's an NPC that you come across, and you could either like work with her and like aid her in her quests, or ignore her and or do something even worse. You can be dumb enough to attack her really early in the game, and she will like show you up really quick. I attacked her, by the way. I was like, enemy. I'm gonna backstab them. So she's just a complete badass, and I just love her aesthetic. She's like covered in crow feathers, has like a beak mask, and is just an overall like really really cool character and one of my favorites.
Awesome. Let's take a quick take on the Twitter here and see beloved Uncle Doe. He's got to go with Bayonetta. She's got a great sense of humor and she kicks ass. So that's the first one from the Twitter fam there. Back to me at number 4, Sadie Adler. She's so badass. She could have her own game. She could totally have a spinoff. I think what I really like about Sadie is her art. Like at first we think she's this poor damsel in distress. Absolutely not. She is a fucking badass. And she straddles this, she has this moral ambiguity. She straddles a line of like outlaw that does some shit, but then like good guy that does some shit. So I think she's just a total badass. She's a powerhouse woman. And her beauty is atypical for the time period where all the women were like dressed up in the bustiers, sitting in the poker club, giving Arthur Morgan, a hand job in a bathtub for 50, but not Sadie. So I just think that Sadie's just a phenomenal like role model for the time. So my number 4 would go to Sadie Adler. Kevin, we're going to try to do this the right way this time. We start from the bottom to the top. So discuss your list. How it really is not that important. Just go ahead and share who's the next lady that you're going to share.
Okay, so my real number 5, and this may be offensive, I don't know, is Aqua from Kingdom Hearts. And again, I'm kind of with Jeremy. My list doesn't really have an order of best to worst or anything like that. I kind of just listed them out in an arbitrary order. So anyway, she's not really my number 5, but Aqua. She is extremely gifted as a Keyblade master. She is loving and kind while also being strong and fierce. And she's not only a teacher, but she's a student constantly. She's not perfect, which I loved. And, Kingdom Hearts has a lot of imperfect characters, but Aqua is very much that. She's imperfect, she's broken, but she still manages to learn from her mistakes and her experiences and grow as a character. And all the while, I read a really cool thing. Somebody said on Reddit, they were like, one of their favorite things about her story is that her story doesn't come at the expense of anybody else's, which I thought was really cool because I'd never thought about that. But that is really cool. Her story is her own, and I love that. She's just such a powerful chick.
That's badass. That's a great pick. Jeremy, go ahead. What's the next lady that you want to share with us?
From The Last of Us, Marlene,
Mhm.
Ooh.
leader of the Fireflies. We know that she's in charge of this group called the Fireflies, and they're trying to find a cure for the infected, and she has to, while she's leading her group, has to make difficult choices. And spoiler alert, if that means sacrificing a certain someone, then so be it. So I only have the utmost respect to be
Yeah.
able to make a tough decision like that. So yeah, Marlene.
That what
Save the world, man.
what a she's such a human character too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad you brought her up. She didn't even fly on my radar, and I'm upset, but I'm really glad that you brought her up. I'd forgotten how fucking incredible she is. Dash, what's your next one?
All right, I'm gonna break the trend. You guys are coming out of left field with these wild card picks, all really good picks for the most part. All of them are, and wild card for the most part is what I mean. But I'm gonna be a little bit more conventional here and take you back to 1991 when
Mm.
all the rosters in fighting games were all dudes. There was one person, Chun Li, amongst 7 other dudes in the main characters that stood out there, and this was back in a time when women in games were portrayed as damsels in distress. You have Zelda, you have Princess Peach, and all that, and then you get this little Chinese badass who's sort of short in height but has thighs that could that's bigger than most people's
Crack a coconut.
torsos. Yeah, completely muscular thighs. And when you think of the most memorable characters in Street Fighter, you got Ryu, and then Chun Li is right after him there. So that was actually one of my first experiences with playing as a female character in a video game. I was all about the SNES. I was all about Street Fighter 2. It was one of our favorite games, and it was cool. It was cool to play as the girl in that game because she was fun as hell to play as. She had the lightning kick, and then she had the spinning bird kick that she could do. And then just throughout the saga or the series, she's been an important character. Heck, has movies after her, and freaking Nicki Minaj even did a single named after one of her main singles was Chun Li. So just a completely iconic character and an important character for the industry.
She was built proportionate to what a martial artist would be shaped like too. So when I saw Chun Li, I never saw her as this overly sexualized character. I saw this is what I mean. If you've seen some of these women badasses out there that fight in martial arts, they have a very similar build to her.
Yeah.
Let's go
Yeah.
and see what the Twitter fam has to say now. Oh, look at my spooktastic kitty, Cassandra from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Dude, Cassandra was fucking awesome, and she is a total badass. I love that she's awkward too. There's another quote. It's my favorite line ever, so that's a great one. Kitty, thank you for sharing that. Holy shit.
She was right up there with Abby with the arms and the muscular physique too.
Oh my god, dude.
Making it normal.
I would love to look like Cassandra or Abby, but
I would love to look like Cassandra or Abby.
I like burritos and pizza too much. I'm sorry. I struggle because
Me too.
I fucking love cheese, man, and beer. My number 3, people are probably going to be surprised. It's not number 1 because this is my favorite female NPC of all time, Judy Alvarez from Cyberpunk.
Yes.
She is the most human character, and she's so consistent in her arc. So depending on how you make your decisions, she has a set of ethics and she won't break it. You can piss her off and she will run away and block your number and you'll never hear from her again. Or she could be your best friend, or she could be your lover. And she starts out as this kind of brash, abrasive woman that has a lot of baggage that's been hurt before. And if you play your cards right, she's this really vulnerable, soft, squishy person who's incredibly brilliant. And I just feel she's so well-rounded and diverse, and I just absolutely love her as a character. I just absolutely love her as a character.
And I love that what you're saying, because I played as a dude, and that's not really barking up the right tree for her. So she was more or less just my best buddy in the game.
Such a good friend.
Yeah, I was gonna say I loved it from start to finish. The ending was so beautiful. I didn't expect anything that emotional out of Cyberpunk. outside of like the relationship that Johnny and V had.
Yeah, I mean, I really love the game. I just can't quite put my finger in it on it. Why I really like the game, but I'm pretty sure that Judy played some role in that. Reading all the lore and finding all the little pieces. I feel like CDPR left part of her story out because if you look at
Yeah.
like, her tech knowledge and she had this unique, like, virtuosic intelligence. I feel like she's
Yeah.
probably canon to solving the ailment that V has. But
I bet she had a huge role back when they were originally going to have more content for the brain dances. They were originally have a lot more brain dances, but people were like, "Yeah, that's pretty much just porn." So they cut that out.
yeah, but I just think I think they did a wonderful job. I love
Yes.
all those NPCs.
Yeah.
But Judy just really stands out to me in the way they wrote her and made her arc.
Yeah.
I just really love it. So, Kevin, who is the third lady that you are going to share with us?
So I'm going into the Soulsborne universe as well with it's such a miserable name, Crossbreed Priscilla. It's so mean because we love her. But she is I'm sure people know of her, but like the lore behind her is pretty cool. She's half human, half dragon. And she is so powerful that the lords were so afraid of her that they trapped her inside of the painted world of Ariamis so that she could not, come at them. So that was sad. But overall, she's just like so gentle and sweet, but has this underlying, like, I guess you could say, monster. And also she can turn invisible, so that's cool.
She just wanted to be left alone, man. Like,
You left alone, dude.
She gave you a chance.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And then I had to kill her, and it was horrible.
exactly.
Oh, yeah. That's what I love about video games, though, is like if you let it, some of them will fuck you up. And I love that about them. So, Jeremy, who's the third lady that you are sharing with us for the evening?
So we're on the month of Spooktober. We could talk about Resident Evil. And,
talk about
when you think about Resident Evil, you think, maybe Ada, maybe Jill, but also you got to give it up to Claire. Kind of trained up by her brother. And, she kind of just goes to Raccoon City just to look for her brother. And then, bam, zombie apocalypse right there. And, she kind of also saves Leon's ass, depending on which scenario you go with. So, gotta hand it to her because I would not survive a zombie apocalypse. I'd be one of the first dead. So,
Yeah.
hats off.
I don't know
to
about
Claire.
that. I could see you being total just killer stud out there. On
I
the
don't think
streets.
so,
It's one of
bro.
the quiet ones. I'm going to be honest. It's the quiet, unassuming ones that
Yes.
really kick the most ass. So I
Absolutely.
probably would like if it were like dodgeball, but like zombie
Yeah.
apocalypse, dodgeball style,
Yeah.
then it's fucking Jeremy because he's quiet.
Yeah.
So I know.
He's out there dual wielding with a cigar in his mouth and sunglasses on at night.
Yeah. See, like look at the filter you have for the show. Like, would you take this or that guy over there? I don't even know where he'll be in the court recording. Maybe I don't know. Would you take like?
You're actually pointing. Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't know. Like
You're pointing
in
at
mine,
me,
You're pointing
and
the right
for
direction.
the
direction.
record, I'm fun, but I just couldn't get
All
the
right,
filter
so
to work.
let's
Okay?
off topic
Yeah.
really quick. Okay, zombie apocalypse time. Do you take the guy that used no fucking filter at all? Do you take Lucky Charms over here? Do you take like the child's birthday cup? Or do you take fucking Jeremy who looks like he's got swag?
I'm gonna take the guy dressed as like Blade right now with the shades and
Yeah.
everything. I'm gonna take
Absolutely. I think everybody would.
There you go.
I'm gonna
There you
take Jeremy.
go. That's-
The guy with no fucking filter.
Well, because I don't know.
First
what
one out, the NPC that's just there for like just to
Guy with
show
the
out
lame
zombies.
yellow hat.
that is
I'm just
true.
kidding,
If
Daniel.
you were all NPCs, you'd maybe be like, hey, I just want to point out that this fucking unicorn hat has great like armor perks. So fucking like this
And I'm
is
sure it's a
really
missile.
strong armor that I have right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
they can like penetrate people.
Bazinga. I mean, I could- okay. Whoa, let's
Looking
not.
very horny right now.
Oh my
That's a
lord!
knee slapper.
Speaking of Judy, no, just okay. So, Dash, who is the third lady that you are going to share with us?
All right, so I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this person because I am playing this game and it's Metroid Dread and it's Samus Aran. Okay, I'm gonna get it before one of the Twitter like users say it. It's Samus Aran, and I feel like a little bit of a poser. saying this because I've always loved the character Samus Aran, and I've always, really liked the franchise, but I haven't played a ton of them. Now that I'm playing Metroid Dread, it's like, wow, I see why she is like the badass that she is. Like the juxtaposition between, like, she takes the helmet off and she's like this beautiful blonde girl, right? And all this sort of like futuristic armor. And let me just say it right now. If she was to go toe to toe with Master Chief, I'm taking Samus any day,
Yeah.
any
down.
day of the week. I'm sorry.
Okay, but what about Kratos? Her or Kratos?
All right, Kratos is a god, yo.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's,
Yeah.
he's literally come back from hell like in every game.
Yeah.
So that's a tough one. I'm gonna take Kratos in almost every battle. But Samus, like, I didn't even know this about her until I researched it. She's 6'3" and 198 pounds. Forget like just for a
Wow.
female. For just a human being, like that's a big person.
Like shoulder
and-
height to Master Chief.
Yeah, she'll like shoulder check me.
That's
and-
big because I'm 6'1", like 179. And like if I
Yeah.
hit the gym hard, I can get up to like mid to high 180s. So that's a big that's a
Like
That's a
8
very-
feet.
that's a sturdy woman, you guys. That is a badass
He's
sturdy woman.
Oh yeah,
Master
And,
Chief's about
she's-
7 feet. So yeah, she's like right there with him, dude.
Right there.
Yeah. She's
She's like
in a
6
more than
inches.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just
she's
enough
like,
to
"Make your
uppercut
move,
him.
bitch."
Just enough to uppercut him with the beam cannon. But she is like one of the most iconic women. Like early on when they introduced her, like a lot of people didn't even know that
Yeah.
the main character was a woman until like she takes her helmet off and apparently her whole suit and she's wearing a bikini. So like early on, she's like in the NES version, yeah, she was like very much sexualized, but like there's a
Yeah.
really, really cool character. And for those who haven't played Metroid Dread yet, go play it and see how cool she is.
Okay, so I got to ask you this. Who would win between Samus and Jeremy? Jeremy with the shades.
Ooh.
I know.
Well, Jeremy's a man of culture and taste, and he can't hit a woman, so he would refuse to strike back
That's
because
the
of
correct
chivalry.
answer.
Perfect
That's,
freaking answer. The wife of King would
Yeah.
never.
I mean,
Never.
she
He would
probably
never disrespect a woman
she'd
like
kick
that.
all of our asses anyway. So I don't think any of us would hit her out of sheer fucking terror. Probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's see what the Twitter fam damn has to share here. Holy cow, this is blowing up. I mean, that's good. Another one picked Samus.
I want to beat them to it.
ELTD Adam also picked Samus, thinks that she's a
Mhm.
badass and the way she morphs into the ball. He also loved all the shepherds from Mass Effect. And
Yes.
from I'll probably say her name wrong because I'm not a big World of Warcraft person, but is it Kapot, that necromancer?
I don't play World of Warcraft either.
Neither am I. Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
only
I'm
for health
sorry.
reasons.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but that is a character that's been picked here. So just
I know that if I played Warcraft, I would be the guy that like dies of malnutrition because I can't stop.
That's-
So I've never started.
that is valid. And I'm pretty sure like Henry Cavill plays World of Warcraft, and it would be my luck to really get murked by like the guy who's really
Yeah.
playing Thrall in the fucking Netflix show. So I should probably do it. So my second favorite character, I was really stuck between the second and the first one. I normally never put thought into these fucking shows. I had to on this one. Finn from Miles Morales.
Oh yeah.
I felt that
Okay.
Miles Morales was, in my opinion, Insomniac was absolutely brilliant with how they delivered political messaging in that game.
Yep.
Hands down, absolutely brilliant political messaging. Finn, to me, is a representation of what so many people in lower class areas and neighborhoods have to go through, particularly people of color. And I felt like her entire character, they made her culturally to kind of fit a strong political message there. And I
Yeah.
love how, like, again, she straddled the line. Like, really good people will do bad things because they have no choice, and bad
Yeah.
people will do good things because they're not, completely evil. And I just felt like she had the most incredible arc, the most incredible redemption arc, and she, to me, represented what so many people are forced to go through. So I just had to put her really high up on that list for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well deserved. She's a great character, and I just wish that game was longer. It
Yeah.
was like a full size game, so we could have gotten more from her. But yeah, absolutely.
Love her.
Storytelling in
Love
that
the
game was
characters.
beautiful.
But, dude, she like totally, and the acting was spot on. But her character and her art just kept giving me chills, and it was like one of the few. There's not many times. I mean, I was pretty emotional at the end of the game. It was fucking beautiful. If you haven't played that,
yeah.
Kevin, who is the fourth lady you're sharing with us?
So in the same arc of totally out of left field that Lou was, I'm gonna go with Kratos' first wife, Lysandra.
Ooh.
Because
Whoa.
it was said in some of the lore that she's the only person in Sparta that never feared him ever. Which, well, that didn't work out, but but it goes to show that she must have been a really strong lady. And even in death, in the later games, she was still forgiving and loving towards Kratos and encouraged him to, find the power and the strength within himself to forgive himself for what he did. Because obviously it was unintentional. He was in a blind rage and drunk with the gods. But he did what he did. So I thought that was really cool. I was kind of looking into some more about her history and stuff, because really in the first game you only see her a little bit, and then you see her as like a ghost, or not a ghost, but like an apparition or whatever, and in the underworld or whatnot. So anyway, that being said, yeah, I believe that she had to have been very strong to be with him, because he wouldn't have it any other way.
That's a great pick. Y'all thought of some damn good ones. I didn't know. I honestly didn't know how it would turn out. Like, are we going to pick a lot of the same things, or how different is it going to be? So this is pretty interesting. Jeremy, who is the fourth lady?
Specifically calling out the remake, I'm going with Aerith from the Final Fantasy VII remake. She knows the will of the planet, always cheerful. She doesn't need Cloud at all. Like, she could lead that game by herself if she wanted to. And not to mention, in the remake, she kind of knows things. She kind of knows her future, at least assumed future. And if you think about it that way, it's tragic, and that's even more of a kind of like reason, because of her strength of like knowing what's going to happen and trying to, somewhat defy it. So, Aerith.
Yes.
What a good pick. Damn. Dash, lady number 4.
Y'all got some, like, you guys are like, going deep with freaking Kratos' first wife. Kevin, you're wild, bro. I love it though. I love it. All right. Who fights against giant robot dinosaurs with a bow and arrow?
Aloy, bitch.
And wins.
Woo!
Aloy. How can we have a list like this without the queen of PlayStation? I think she absolutely takes a crown as the queen of PlayStation. She's like, forget just female characters. She's one of the best characters, if not like the best character that PlayStation introduced in the PS4 like era. And I am so excited for Horizon Forbidden West. I know she's gotten a lot of flack about like her appearance, and going back to like what we were saying earlier, like where it's like, hey, how come she's not feminine enough? How come she doesn't have eyeliner on and freaking lip gloss on during in the battlefield? Like, go watch.
Question: how many Sephoras and fucking WalMarts did you pass on the first game?
I saw a few of them. They were just rubble.
Yeah, she's like, hold on, dinosaur. Before I gotta get all prettied up before I fight you.
You smudged my mascara.
But go like we said earlier, like go look at female martial artists. Go look at like the MMA like champions and see what they look like.
Yeah.
They're not wearing makeup to those fights, and I think she looks absolutely great. She's a super strong character. She's confident. She's like she sort of like grew up and fought against adversity, being an outsider. And while everyone had luxuries of like tribes and learning from each other and that camaraderie, she had one person to like look up to, and that one person's just not there for her anymore because
I get chills.
Yeah. They
died to like solve what she solved. That's incredible. Like the heart on her to be that outcast, like you said. She should be a total like bitter woman, and she's not. She's so fucking human.
Yeah.
Yep. And hopeful and ready to succeed.
And I just can't like I think, and then in the new game she has these like really cool anime like effects where like she like gets the power up and adds it to her like bow and like melees people with it. So I was just like going back and looking at footage from like the original game. I'm like, damn, for 2017, this looks damn good. I can't wait for the 2022 game. It's gonna be phenomenal.
But that is probably the most. That was like the one thing I had to have the PS5 for. I was like, I cannot, like, I will not. I was like totally like a dramatico, like, oh my God, I'll die if I don't have it. But it's very, very important to me. So let's see Matt, you're quick with the Samus, because Mega Matt, the bogey Matt, he is calling out Samus because Methodical already said Jill Valentine. So we've got one for Jill Valentine, one for Samus. Retro Pipes. Oh, the question is too hard to answer. If all the games I enjoy with female characters, what did he say here? I get the sense this question wouldn't be so hard for me to answer if all the games I enjoy with female characters were fixed rather than highly customizable. That's a good point, actually, is if you really enjoy like RPG games, like, you know, you look like Fallout or Cyberpunk or something where you're customizing your person, that is a very different thing, because you can't, like the Outer Worlds, you can't really say that's my favorite
I'll
character.
be honest, Crystal.
Yeah.
I made a gorgeous character in Demon Souls.
But it's hard because I see what Retro Pipes is saying, because we can't really describe that character, because it's like, oh, me, I'm my favorite player.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? That's a really good point. Let's see what overpowered as fuck, my boy here says, oh, Cortana, because she's integral.
That's a good one.
Yeah, she's integral to the good guys winning,
Gets a little
and she's
scary.
more than a mere tool, among other things. So that's a pretty good one. So, oh boy.
Yeah, she gets a little terrifying.
A little bit. Now, if we were doing this correctly, this is where we save the spot for our number one favorite character.
Yes.
Everybody didn't do that great, but that's okay. It's all a lot of love, and all of these ladies are badass. So
I don't think it was very clear when we said build a list from 1 to 5 of our favorite. I'm just kidding.
It doesn't. It really doesn't matter. All of these picks are fucking fantastic.
And mine are in order, by the way.
Any one of them could be at the top, but for me,
try hard, Dash.
For me,
Just kidding.
No one asked you, Dash.
My number one lady has to go back to, I don't even remember the year and how old I was when I first encountered this wonderful woman who I thought, my God, I am mesmerized by this woman. She is so smart, so badass. She can fight, she can shoot, she can parkour, she can steal. She's fucking brilliant. She's fucking gorgeous. Chloe Frazier. Always love Chloe Frazier. In the beginning, total kind of like badass protagonist, and then you see that she's a wonderful arc. She's not a bad guy. She's not a good guy. If I could like be as dope as anybody, I would fucking be Chloe Frazier, hands down. So that is my number one.
That's really
just
good.
Want to say, if they want to carry the franchise forward, I think she can carry the franchise.
Yes.
You could put it on her shoulders, and she's a fantastic character.
She is. Her Lost Legacy was one of the best in the series, and I mean,
Lost Legacy is one of my favorite like Uncharted games.
It's so good. It's so good. Both of them are badass. But Chloe, I agree. Chloe could fucking absolutely carry the franchise for many more games. So I had to put her number. I just love her so much. I've loved her since Uncharted 2. I love her. Kevin.
Yeah. Okay, so since I messed up and started with number 1, I'm going to give you my number 2, which is Jessie Faden. Because she was already great. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm going to go purely aesthetic for a second. So she's already awesome, and I platinumed that game, and by the time you have all the crazy whiz-wongs and power, you also get this totally badass Jedi outfit. And at that point, I was like, dude, this game does Star Wars better than Star Wars. Like, that's the closest I felt to playing, like, The Force Unleashed that I'd felt since I played The Force Unleashed. So Jessie Faden, just because she's so powerful, and she just gets more and more powerful. I love the fact that, you know, circumstances aside, like, she was just so resolved to get down to the bottom of this mission that she set out to complete. And at the beginning, she really didn't even know what that mission was. So just the resolve to, like, you're going to put one foot in front of the other and you're going to go from point A to point B, no matter what it takes. That was probably one of the coolest female characters that I've ever had the pleasure of playing as.
That's a great pick. She was a fucking badass, and I feel like people don't
Yes.
talk about her enough. So I'm glad that you brought that up, Jeremy.
I'm bringing it back to the Uncharted franchise. One of my favorite series franchises of all time. I'm going to go with Elena because she is the backbone of that relationship. Doesn't
Yes.
put up with Nate's antics or his bullshit, and saves him a couple times as well, especially in Uncharted 4. And it broke my heart when Nate went behind her back. And all you had to do, Nate, was just talk to her, and she would have been with you 100%.
Yep.
So,
Is she
Elena.
not like kind of perfect? Like we're all like,
Yeah.
wow, Elena is such a wholesome, amazing person.
Yes.
Dude,
Yep.
real. What awesome fucking picks! Like these are knocked out of the park. Dash, who's the last lady of the
I'm gonna
night.
bring it
All
home.
the pressure's on you. This is the last lady of the night that we're sharing.
The best. Can we do honorable mentions? Like I
We
almost
can do honorable, but we can do
This is
whatever
the
the fuck
quick
we
list.
want after this.
quick list. But by far, my queen is this person. Who's one of the coolest video game characters? Just period. Snake, right? Snake from Metal Gear Solid. Who got their ass completely handed to them by this character? Snake. I'm talking about Boss, the mentor and the mother
Yes.
figure to Snake in Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. And like and Naked Snake's sort of namesake, like he's named Big Boss after her. Complete badass. This was like a time that like just like when I like encountered her, I had just never seen a video game character like her. Just period. Like the respect that she gets from like the main baddie of the game of Colonel Volgin. He was terrified of her. She was like the hero of World War II, the founder of the Cobra unit, which are the enemies that you fight against in the game. And she is Snake's mentor and founded CQC, the close quarter combat that like Snake does throughout like the entire series. That was sort of all her. And she was completely selfless. She had this great reputation. She laid it all on the line. She sacrificed her life. She sacrificed everything in that time period for the good of mankind, for the good of her country. She was a true patriot. And just like another note, like she was pregnant and gave birth through on the battlefield. Like people talk about C-sections, she had like an S section. She has a scar down her entire torso, and just like the absolute queen. I love her so much. I think she's one of the best written characters, period, in gaming, and one of my favorite characters is period in gaming.
Wow, that's really
Yeah,
good.
dude.
So before we
Yeah.
do honorable mentions and kind of go off and do kind of whatever we decide to do, I wrote down everybody's because I thought it would be fun if I shared, if we could try and like analyze that and see if we saw some kind of like mentality that was in place with everybody's list. So mine was GLaDOS, Sadie Adler, Judy Alvarez, Finn, and Chloe Frazier. Do you guys see any kind of like patterns there? Like any clarity of what kind of characters I gravitate towards?
They like strong, like witty, intelligent.
Kind of seems that
Independent?
way, doesn't it?
What's that?
Kind of seems that way, doesn't it? Like I didn't really put that thought into it, but I think all of them kind of straddle ethic lines too. Like it
Yeah.
seems like they're all kind of good at being bad and bad at being
Yeah.
good, but good at being good and bad when they're bad. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Like, anything else that you guys pick up on my list?
Hmm.
But that was a good
well, they're
point
all
that you
women.
brought up.
Yeah, they're all.
So I think that you probably lean more that way. I'm just kidding.
No, they are kind of all badass and a little witty, and they all do have like that. Yeah, they're all like kind of very ambiguous in a sense of are they good or are they bad all the time. So let's look at Kevin's list then. We have Aqua, Crossbreed Priscilla, Lysandra, Jessie Fadden, and Baby Lou. That's a tough
Baby
one
Lou.
to try. And, like, that's a tough one to try and dissect. Is there any commonalities here?
I would say just thinking about it now, because I didn't really think about it either
Yeah.
when I was doing it like that. But the common trait I would say is probably strength and just being very strong. Obviously, Lou is a little itty bitty baby, but that took a lot of strength to do what she did with Sam. And not that she had a choice; she was in a jar being strapped on his chest. But
Yeah.
anyway, all the characters had a sort of strength about them, I guess, including Kratos' first wife there.
I would say that your list, everybody has a lot of mental fortitude. Like this is like very mentally strong. This is a very mentally strong list. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that is that none of them are like necessarily like a main character in the game, but like for the most part, like things would fall apart without these characters. Like
Yeah.
they hold these games together in a lot of ways.
Blue. Kevin picked blue.
Glue.
Yay, Kevin
What?
picked blue.
Oh, Lou.
The glue.
Yeah. Elmer's glue. Gorilla
I think
glue.
The good
Yeah,
Lou.
they're the glue of.
They're the
of-
glue.
I mean, we call them sticky fingers, so
This would be why. Not because he steals, but because he picks strong female characters that
Yes.
hold their stories together like glue. All right, so
Yes.
let's look at Jeremy's list. We have Kina, Marlene, Claire, Aerith, and Elena. I kind of think I would say that this list is people who can emotionally and mentally handle really dynamic situations and make hard decisions. Does that seem like that might be a kind of what Jeremy's list has going on?
I
I
think
gotta
so.
say,
Yeah.
I'm just blown away by how perceptive and smart you are. Because like I literally am just like, yeah, their names on a page, and you're like digging into it, and I love it.
Asking all these
Because-
questions, and there's three people going.
You're like,
I'm just
you're awesome. You're really in the sauce.
well, I am in the sauce actually.
The sauce always helps me think too, and I don't have any.
No, I don't. I'm a thinker. I don't know. I'm one of those. This is just my weird brain is 1,000 miles an hour, and this is just what I do is fucking analyze everything, and it never fucking stops.
You bring a totally cool perspective to it, though, and that's really awesome.
Well, thank you. I'm
You're
very
welcome.
happy to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said. I can't really draw, but beyond that, for Jeremy's list, I can't really draw, any other connections besides that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think in general, all of our choices have that kind of like strength in common. They're able to kind of, if they wanted to, carry the series in their own way if they aren't already the main characters, but then they're also able to make the tough choices and live with the tough choices. And if they need to, they can defy it as well. So, I mean, what's more badass than that?
That is absolutely fucking true. That is absolutely fucking true. Let's look at Dash's list. We have Eileen the Crow, Chun-Li, Samus, Aloy, and Boss. That might be the most diverse list.
I was gonna say I'm about that action, and all of them
Yeah,
fuck shit
yeah.
up. Like,
Yes,
of-
that's exactly
all of
where I
them,
was
like,
gonna go.
yeah, they are like I have a lot of characters. I was deciding these are characters that mean a lot to me, and I think the industry. But put them in a ring with anyone. Like I do like my action adventure games. I do like my action games. These are badass characters that fuck shit up.
They can
Can
hold
I
their
just-
own.
Yeah, can I just say? So I used to jokingly say when I was in high school, and it's actually carried me all the way until today. I love a woman that can kick my ass, and so like my wife, extremely strong lady, and Daniel, it seems that you love a woman that can kick your ass.
I guess so. I guess so.
I mean,
My
who
partner
doesn't?
could kick my ass too, so yeah.
I mean, I would say all the women on these lists could probably.
Mm, mm.
Judy probably couldn't kick my ass, but I would let her. Yeah, I would say that Dash's list is a bit like chaotic, like those chaotic women that I don't think you could put any of these women in a room and then be like, now don't do anything if things go south. This is the first, Dash's list is the first group of women who are going to be like, fuck this, I'm
Yeah.
fucking shit up.
they're alphas. If you think
Yes.
about it, they're alphas in
The
their
whole
own
list
way.
of alphas.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the list is, yeah, I think we do have a lot of, Chloe is definitely an alpha.
Oh yeah.
A lot of, yeah, I would say a lot of these are definitely, yeah. How awesome is this? Okay, so let's just for fun start, maybe do an honorable mention or two. I love her, and I just couldn't mention her because it makes me very, very sad what happened. and the sequel is right around the corner. And if she dies, I'm going to be inconsolable. Like when Mini-Me dies and Dr. Evil needs like 5 full minutes to cope.
Yes.
Freya. I
Oh
felt
my
like
God.
Freya was just, oh my God, I just love a good story
Mhm.
arc, but how like powerful and strong she is to
Yes.
deal with her child hating her like that and
Mhm.
still loving him that deeply, and
Yeah.
how maternal she was with Atreus and how soft she got Kratos
Yeah.
to be. Like, I just, in Ragnarok, I don't have the heart, like, I
Yeah.
just, please don't
I'm
kill.
praying that there'll be some sort of a resolution there because we often forget that she was like the leader of the Valkyries, right? Like she's a badass
Yeah,
warrior,
yeah,
and she's going to give him a run for his money.
Yeah, I'm with all that. Like, I love her evolution just from what we've seen. Like visually, she has like almost like tears of like ash, like running,
Mm,
and like that storyline right there is like probably the most intriguing thing to me right now. Is like what's going on between Freya and Kratos and Atreus, like more than like Thor and that
yeah.
conflict.
So before I jump in for more honorable mentions, we have a couple live tweets that just came through. This is his username. I'm not actually labeling his opinion. His username is lame. I'm not saying his opinion is lame. He's going to go with Aloy. She's incredibly realistic, likable, has strong convictions, and is a badass. Yes, that is absolutely, that is not a lame opinion. Lame. It's an awesome opinion. And
Anti-lame.
our boy Cannibal Matt here, well, we knew he was going to pick Lara Croft.
Mhm,
That's
mhm.
that's his favorite character, his favorite female, his favorite game character, his favorite overall character. We know that he
How
loves Lara.
how could you have this show and not mention that name at least just once in
Yes.
Well,
passing
I
at
was
least?
kind of hoping that like Matt and some other people would pick stuff that we might not be as.
Yes.
I wasn't as big into Tomb Raider as I was Uncharted, so for me, like the Chloe and the Elena was
Yeah.
stronger
Yeah.
for me than Lara. But I'm very glad that she came up. Kevin, who is an honorable mention for you?
I have to go with Abby Anderson from
Woo,
Last of Us 2
yes.
because I mean I got to be honest. Aside from the notable traits, she's strong, she's skilled, she's obviously very tactical, she's very powerful. She can bench press me, and I mean aside from all that, like just again with the determined. I mean as a character, she was so human. Seeing her romantic side, seeing her human side, her friendly side, seeing how committed she was to avenging what happened. And then as a character, like you, I love that arc. Like you hate her in the beginning, right? Because you're just like, how could she do this to our characters? And then as you keep playing, you just realize you're like, dude, they're out for themselves and they're both just doing this out of love and they have a passion and they're blind with just hate and anger, but she just becomes so real during that game. I've never played a game where I loved everyone and hated everyone all at the same time and was like, I see both sides now.
That game was pretty incredible. So we're going to go a little bit off topic of this one because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it needs to be said about Abby Anderson. If that character was delivered to us in a different context, somebody who didn't kill Joel, would a lot more of the gaming community have accepted her as a really strong, quality, well-written
Yeah.
character? Do you think that is the
I think
defining
so.
thing that made a lot of people just immediately kind of shut her out and go, fuck her, I don't like her?
Yes, absolutely. Because everyone had that tie to Joel, and once he was dead, all we associated her with was Joel's death. But if she just came in as like that looming figure that kept trying to kill you, like yeah, it'd be like she's scary and she's fierce, and it'd be like such a badass villain. But
Can we take a second to just appreciate that, like those words, like a protagonist, right? That we're all talking about how great and interesting of a character she is, killing off another really beloved
yeah,
protagonist in a
yeah,
series, like that just doesn't happen ever.
yeah,
And like that, just like hearing that, just like like it shook me right now just hearing
yeah,
that. And it's like that you don't get that too often, like that
Well,
complex of a
yeah,
story.
the journey too, right? Like
yeah,
everyone like starts off like hating her, and
yeah,
when that transition happens, you honestly, I think most players feel like they don't want to play the second half.
yeah.
But as you kind of like continue that, the second half of that game, that journey, you start to kind of like understand where she's coming from, her motivations, to
Yep.
the point to where at the end, when you control, a little bit of a spoiler alert,
Mhm.
when you control Ellie again and they get into fisticuffs,
You don't
you
wanna hurt
almost
her.
don't want to continue.
Yeah.
I actually put the controller down because
Yes.
I was like, I don't want to do this.
I thought that was it. At that
That is
moment, I was like, "This
exactly
is
what
it."
I said, Jeremy.
Yes.
Exactly what I said. I paused it. I put the controller down. I stood up and I can't do what I think the game is going to make me do.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
did
Yes.
not have it in me to like Ellie or Abby. I could not hurt either one, especially
yeah.
as the other one. I was so
Yeah.
fucking shook. I was like, I can't do this.
I did
Yeah,
that in the
well,
theater. I'm like, if I put my controller down, like, could this go another way?
Well, I was
I
kind
just
of
say,
thinking,
dude-
like, is it like Far Cry, where like Far Cry
You just sit
4?
there, yeah.
If you left the controller alone for a second, and then or for 15 minutes or whatever, you
Yeah.
get a totally different ending. And I was totally like, just like I stepped away and was
I
waiting
had it
for
on
that to
pause
happen.
too. I did
Yeah,
the same thing. Can I just tell you though, like, and I know we're getting off topic, but just
Okay.
really quickly, like, I have never played a game that was so satisfying, but also left me feeling miserable, sad, unfulfilled, angry, and dirty after I finished it. Like, I constantly just felt gross during that game.
The entire game was just consistent parallels, and it was the whole game in itself was a giant dichotomy, and that's what
Yes.
made it so great. Is like every
Yes.
time there's something that's just gut wrenching and sad and awful,
Yeah.
there's this sweet, saccharine, beautiful moment that's like a tiny, like, say what you want about Neil Druckmann, that guy understands how to use that medium to tell a
yeah.
narrative journey. So like after Ellie tortures makes that torture scene, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I was like, I actually
Yeah.
liked that character, and I don't like that she did that.
Hurts.
And then when Dina like comforted her and they had that moment, it was like sugar being slowly like drip drip,
Yeah.
a little sugar in your
Yeah.
brain to make you feel something. Like it just made me feel so, my God, what if
Yes.
that's insane. That is
Yeah.
insane. Even people who really, really, really hate it, like, you're still talking about it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that,
I've never
how
been.
strong the story is you still hate it with so much fucking
Yeah.
feather. Like
I've
that's
just
what's
never
wrong with
been
it.
so worn out after getting, like, I have every intention of going back and playing it. And I've been saying that since I first beat it. And I have not done it.
I
Because
played-
I'm
Not gonna lie,
how many
How
times?
many times?
I played it. I want to say probably 3 or so. The combat was so
Wow.
good. Like
Yes.
I wanted to try different. Like I wanted to do only stealth, where you try not to kill as often as possible, only silenced
Yeah.
weapons, and then I wanted to do one that was like no silenced weapons, no stealth, be a fucking like balls to the wall. So I wanted to try, and it was so satisfying because I felt like each
Yes.
time was a different experience.
Downloading it again right now. You've inspired me.
I know. I'm like, this show is making me want to play video games. Like,
That's good.
Downloading it right
That's
now.
what that's what I love.
I want to play it in that 60 frames patch. I
Uh,
just haven't done
well,
it yet.
You can do that when you have the PS5. Jeremy, who is an honorable mention?
Can I just list off some honorable mentions? Like,
Of course you can. You can do
All right.
whatever you like.
So we've already talked about Last of Us, and we already like referenced her name, but Dina too.
Mhm,
I think is an honorable mention. Just being kind of like Elena, being the backbone of that relationship, and then also to a certain point, like putting up with Ellie's shit and being
Yeah.
her kind of like support system until she couldn't take it any
Oh,
longer,
it broke
and
my
that was
heart, dude.
heartbreaking.
Was because you knew that was
Yeah.
it.
Exactly.
So sad.
And then I also have in my list Siphon Filter with Leon, who's basically the kind of stand toe to toe with kind of like Gabe. And I think and even in one of the games you kind of control her too. And then I also had Chloe was one of my picks. But you also you had Nadine. And Resident Evil wise, of course Jill, and then you had
Mhm,
Shiva.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
Those are good.
That's
Man. Those are all good.
hell of a
quite a
list.
bit.
Dash, and I know
how do
you
I
have
follow?
a mention or two. I know you do. I can see you chomping at the bit. You've got.
Oh yeah, I mean, a couple of them have been mentioned already in Claire Redfield and Lara Croft. Here's one that's a little bit different. Madeline from Celeste. Like, I don't know if any of y'all have
Ooh.
played that game, but she is just an absolutely interesting character. You know, that game came that I played that game at a time when like emotionally I felt like I needed it. Like, the whole like sort of point of the game is she's trying to sort of test herself to see if she could sort of like venture up this mountain and
Mm.
sort of confronting these deep seated emotions that she had, confronting these like negative emotions that she had to the point where she's literally battling herself in the game. And that game just really hit different. It was like a really fantastic game, sort of. Um, and its mechanics, and it was just a fun game to play, but its story
Mhm.
and the character were just like hit me at a time when I really really needed it. And
Yeah.
she's a fantastic character. The growth that you get from the base of the mountain to the end of the game is just really nice to see. Jeremy, you listed off like a bunch,
I know he did.
I feel,
I had to cut it off. I had more. I had
I
more.
feel-
See, he
let-
listed a bunch,
Let's
and
go
I
back
got a
to
whole
that.
separate topic. So yeah, you should probably list a couple too. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, I'm like,
We got a new one on Twitter here from AC Slater. I'm going to pronounce this
AC
wrong.
Slater.
I'm sorry. I'm not a huge Final Fantasy buff, and this one comes from Final Fantasy VI. The Last Share. I'm sorry. I probably fucked the name up. I'm really sorry.
What is
AC
it?
Slater. Don't
Meh.
ring me by the
Meh.
bell. She's
Meh.
dynamic, and leveling is insane once you use her talents. I've probably butchered the name, so somebody needs to correct me.
That's how I would have pronounced it. I'm not familiar with that character.
Yeah, I'm
How
not.
do I spell that?
Let's see. CELESCHERE. Maybe it's French, so it'd be pronounced like. I
Yeah,
don't.
that looks like c'est la chair.
Celestia.
Oh, c'est la chair.
Wait, I am
Not-
familiar with her a little bit, but yeah, I don't know how to pronounce the name.
I'm not sure. Do you guys want to do a couple more honorable mentions? Because Jeremy has a list, and I thought somebody else said they may have.
I
a
think
few.
Dash probably has a list.
I got
He looks
I
scared.
got like I think I got one more that I want to talk about. Maybe two.
Okay, do
I'll
it.
just say Lady Maria really quick from the Bloodborne DLC. Another just goes with my theme of characters that just fuck things up. I don't know a ton about her backstory, but like she's like literally the cover character on the DLC, the Old Hunters. And it's just like one of the best boss fights, period. And just like a really like pivotal character in the Bloodborne saga. But like we've talked about Abby, we've talked about a bunch of other Naughty Dog characters. How can we not mention Ellie, the hope of humanity?
Mhm, mhm.
The hope of humanity who had that stripped away from her. Listen, I'm Team Ellie. I watched your debate with Wes, Ellie versus Abby. I'm Team, I do like. I'm not one of those like weirdos that's like forget Neil Druckmann or whatever. But I like Abby as well.
Abby
but
did
I like
nothing
I'm.
wrong.
No, I mean I would have done exactly what Abby did. She actually even had mercy, if anything.
I would have.
But like Ellie, like at a time when like she was the cover character in the first one, and like when it was announced that she was going to be leading the second one, when you had such a cool character like Joel, like no one like batted an eye or thought like,
Yeah.
oh no, I don't want to play as like Ellie. Like everyone was
Yeah.
stoked to play as Ellie after like she showed how strong she was, how resilient she was. When she was like literally caged and fought her way out of that from
Yeah.
freaking cannibals, and really had something stripped away from her,
Yeah.
where she could have like made potentially a huge difference in the outcome of that world,
Yeah.
stripped away from her and having to sort of battle that and fight through that like emotionally and I guess we've spoiled The Last of Us plenty, but like go through that journey and like finally you find out that she does forgive him. And the journey that she went through, like a lot of the same feelings she had, I would have acted just like I said with Abby, I would have acted the same way Ellie did. And to show the growth at the end where she just finally did let go and moved on, was just fantastic to see. I know a lot of people
Yeah.
thought she was selfish for doing that, for going out to Santa Barbara in the first place, but she was literally living a nightmare. You know, she'd go in and have these flashbacks and have PTSD from what happened.
Yeah.
So she knew she couldn't leave things unfinished, and she went. She sought it out. She got the closure she needed. Grew so much from that, and moved on. And she really, I think, she can continue to be the future, obviously, of that series.
Good. There is an honorable mention that I have, and I didn't say who it is because I forgot her name, and it's from the first Last of Us game. The combat mechanics weren't there, and I was like, I'm not doing this shit twice. Who was that badass woman who was super selfless, who sacrificed herself early on in the game, who deserved to be in the game much longer? What was her name?
Jeremy
Tess.
Yedra.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had Tess. Yeah.
She absolutely deserves to be on this list. That
We're
woman was
shitty people,
amazing.
Joel.
She deserved
So good.
way more
Yeah.
than what she got. She's one of
Yes.
those characters
Yes.
that, like, man, I really would have wished that I could have seen so much more of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you will. I think she'll be on the show, right?
Yeah, for like
True.
5 seconds.
She sacrifices herself again.
Hey,
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
pull Walking Dead and stray away from the source material.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, her-
instantly.
Her progression
not.
too as a character, like she already like comes to that realization of being kind of like a better person and seeing the overall like picture way before Joel does.
Oh
And
yeah. Way before
Oh.
it does.
actually, Joel doesn't even actually. He kind
No.
of he's a selfish dude.
He just
He
wants to
kinda
save
is.
Ellie.
He is
Yeah.
such an antagonistic protagonist. Like
Yes.
it's like I just love how video games, the fantasy aspect of games, just muddies these lines and blurs them together. But
And
like when Tess did that sacrifice, I was like, oh my god,
Can I just go down memory lane for 1 second on The Last of Us?
of course.
Okay, so The Last of Us came out on PS3, and I remember like it was yesterday. I got it at midnight, and I got home, and I had an old fat PS3, and I remember I popped it in. I'm playing it, and I get to the point where you know, you're running through town with your daughter in your arms, and then all of a sudden you're confronted on like a dirt path by like some soldiers, and they're like, "Turn around!" And he's like, "No, I just gotta get past or whatever." And they're like, "Turn around now!" And then they opened fire, and the screen went black, and all I could hear was audio. And I thought it was just like dramatic because it literally, like the second they popped off the first shot, the screen went black, and all I could hear was audio. My optical disc drive broke,
Oh
Wow.
and I was like,
How did that
What
happen
happened?
at that moment?
it was amazing, and I'll never forget it. I literally went out the next day and got a PS3 Slim. I needed one.
You
So
know,
I have to play this game.
I will say with Tess too, I actually went back into that that complex just to see if I could save her.
No, you
too.
can't.
I did. I was kind of pissed off. Like I just
Yeah.
Hurts.
she should have been saved to me. Dude, that game is like, I was talking to a friend today and she was like, tell me about this video game. She was like,
You're
she
like,
literally
"Oh, I
stopped
will."
the car. She literally stopped the car and she's like, dude. It's like, I know, bro. Like if it were, nobody would sacrifice their child for humanity. Nobody cares how many people in the world are going to die. We are not giving up our
Yeah.
own flesh and blood. But
I don't know. It depends on the
somebody's
day,
child
honestly.
that, like, I don't know if that sacrifice could mean like me and everybody I love. I don't know that kid.
In
So it's
Joel's
like
place?
in do what?
Are you saying like in Joel's place?
Well, just in general, like mentality wise,
Joel and
you're
Roll.
not Joel and you're like, I don't fucking know this kid. All she has to do is die and everybody that I love can continue living.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put her up there on that roaster. But nobody is going to let the person they
Yeah.
love as a child be set. And that dynamic is so real and so human. So when I was
Yeah.
talking to my
Yeah.
friend about that, she's like, holy fuck, that is like, how in the world do you even make, like, that is an insane consequence. That's an insane decision to make. It's like, I know that's why I love video
Running
games.
through the hospital to get her still just lives in my head rent free. Like it's one of the craziest sequences, and you're just emotional because you're like, has it happened yet? Has it happened yet?
And I actually didn't agree with it. I was like, it's her decision. I know she's young.
Mm-hmm.
She made this decision. And like, these people, in my opinion, are good in it. Like, it's just,
Mhm.
the end of that game left me like,
Did she make that decision knowing that she'd have to sacrifice herself though? That part was not.
I don't
No.
know. I think they left that a bit ambiguous
Yeah.
so that we could form. I feel like Neil did leave a lot of things up for interpretation so we could create
They
part of that story on her own.
they left it ambiguous, but I think in part 2 she kind of already like you kind of know
Got
what
the
decision
answer.
she would have made. Yeah.
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 I like how that ending where like the first one ended off, like you're like, okay, he lied to her. Like how much that had consequences. Like how
Yes.
much that impacted the second
I
one.
didn't know
That
if he
one
did though. I didn't know if he lied to her. I'm like, did I find all the right little tape recordings? Did he actually lie
Yeah.
or not? I wasn't
Well,
positive.
I think you're specifically talking about lying to her in the car, right? Saying, "Hey, it didn't work out."
Yes.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then again she asks again as they're like hiking up back to like the settlement, and then I think he tells her the same answer, and then she sort of like accepts it as like okay,
Yeah.
but with like with doubt in the back of her mind.
Oh man, what a beautiful story. So Jeremy, you had
Yeah.
a couple more that you said you wanted to share?
Tess was actually like on that list too,
Mhm.
just in case anyone picked her up. I had Cassandra too, and I think I wonder if I'm missing anyone else. But I also had the Mass Effect class
Yep.
also had
Shepherds.
the Shepherds.
Let's add
Liara.
one up. Okay, Cassandra.
Yeah,
How about Kira?
Yes.
Kira was a pretty badass chick. Was she not? You remember Kira, the little art where you go out and well,
Kevin's
Wait.
googling. I'm googling.
I literally, I'm like, wait, who's Kira?
okay. Do you remember how you're taking down one of the cult members? God, it's been a while since I played Odyssey, so I'm trying to think of the guy, the fucking asshole you kill, the Athenian asshole who ended up being Kira's dad. But Kira was a badass character.
You played Odyssey,
okay.
didn't you, Kevin?
Oh yeah, I platinumed the
Oh.
hell out of that game.
I don't understand why
Yes.
it's crazy.
Yes.
I really
I remember
like
her just looking at her, but I don't remember
She
anything
was
about her story arc.
badass. Kira was a badass. I was like, that was a pretty. She to me was a badass character. I thought about putting her on the list, but she's not really as badass. But I would have liked to have seen more.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
From her.
was she from the DLC, like the
No.
expansion, or was she a part of the main
No,
quest?
Persephone was from the Fate of Atlantis expansion. I mean, but
Mhm.
she's an Eastu god, so of course Persephone is a big deal.
think-
You went into oh fuck, what is the island? There's only
I think
4
I'm vaguely remembering. Yeah,
wait, not the island of Lesbos. That island. Apollo and Artemis. Damn it!
Silver Islands? Is that
It's part of the Silver
Yeah.
Islands.
okay? It's part of
Um,
the Silver Islands. My bad.
It's popular for mining silver. Is she on Mykonos? Yes, it's Mykonos because that's a party island today. Like Lindsay Lohan hangs out on Mykonos and does cocaine all day. It was Mykonos. So you get onto Mykonos and you get a letter from the Eagle Bearer to help her. So you like help her with her rebellion.
Can
So
I
you
just point out?
go
Okay,
and
so when I
help her
googled
with
it,
her rebellion. Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, I cut you off.
No,
when
you
I googled it, it said
It's gonna be a good story.
the Silver Islands are the best (parentheses) and sexiest region in Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
I mean, Kira was pretty physically attractive, and she's kind of a badass.
Mhm.
And she like openly shagged Cassandra right on
Yeah.
the beach
Yeah.
where
No.
eventually her man could see. So I was like, big dub.
Okay, I need to like put that game on the top of my list right now because
It's so
that
good,
all
dude.
sounds
Aside
It's
very
from that,
actually good, and I mean, I will like
yes,
it. I found it to be pretty fun. But Kira, I would
I couldn't
Kira
put
on
it
this
down.
just because Kira was a pretty cool character.
I
I
played that
like the
game.
DLC too.
I played that game for way too many hours. Like I think it was probably like close to 160 hours. Like of just
I have way
was
more
not
than
good.
that. in it. I did
yeah.
3 runs. One
Oh
of
my
them with the
gosh.
full the 2 DLC packs. So I'm probably closer to like 400.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. See, I'm not ready to like commit to that again with the new Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I just can't do it, dude. I started it up and I was like, I am not ready for 180 hours.
I did not enjoy that game nearly as much. But that's just me. That's
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
told I'm known to
Yeah.
have bad takes sometimes. So before we wrap up and start talking about you guys a little bit more, is there any badass queen that we
Mhm.
have missed? Let's see. Hold on, my boy, Madman, Jill Valentine. She's the personification
Yes.
of badass, which we did get her So I think I got most of the Twitter fans.
I didn't hear Tifa anywhere. She was on my list too.
Nobody picked the
Yeah.
Tifa.
Well,
Oh,
because we talked about it, and she was like as my backup on my list because I knew Jeremy was doing Aerith, and I didn't want to come in with the other best girl.
We're about to have like a debate right here
Yeah.
about
Tifa
like
and Aerith.
Aerith versus Tifa.
Yeah,
franchise can produce multiple like best picks. That's awesome.
Yes.
Like multiple best characters. That's
Well,
fantastic.
Last of Us, we named like 6 characters from The Last
Mhm.
of
We need
Us.
400.
Like 4 from like Uncharted,
yeah.
like 3 from
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
That is true. And we even named a couple within. Didn't we name 2 from Bloodborne?
2 from Bloodborne. So
Yeah.
like that's just really cool. Like
2 from God of War. So several. That's quite a bit. Also for
Yeah.
Resident Evil series. So yeah, fuck it. That all counts. So let's talk a little bit about the NXS cast as we're wrapping up. Before I went on you guys' show, because I try to find small content creators, and I listened to it, and I said, this sounds, if I have to describe the show, it sounds like a bunch of lifelong friends hanging out talking about games. And then I found out that you guys are like real life friends and like work companions. So this is like a real chemistry that's between you guys. It's like a real human dynamic,
Yeah.
like real life friends. You know each other, you work together, you're in each other's space.
we end each night by saying "I love you" to each other. Kevin forces us,
yeah,
and we
I
say it
turn-
reluctantly.
I turn to my left and give Daniel a kiss, and I turn to my right and give Jeremy a kiss, and then we go to bed.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we all we all work together, and we see each other in the office all the time. And these are my gaming buddies. And we've before having the podcast, we just have a lot of really good conversations to ourselves. And we've had like ambitions to start a podcast. So we want to give that sort of vibe. Like we all are very comfortable around each other. And I think we got the chemistry, and we want everyone who listens, like, we don't take ourselves too seriously or anything like that. We want everyone who listens to feel like our friend as well. Like, hey,
Yeah.
it's video games. At the end of the day, we're talking about video games. It's all fun. Let's not take ourselves too seriously or our passion and our hobby. And week in and week out, we cover the biggest stories in gaming.
I have to say, I came on the show, and mostly on Twitter, I'd interacted with Dash a bit back and forth, and I didn't know a lot about who Kevin and Jeremy was. But honestly, I went on the show and came out of it, and I'm like, I have 3 new brothers.
Oh yeah.
Like this is I have 3 new brothers. Like I got real dudes out of this one.
Yeah, and like we love it. Like with you, like right away we felt comfortable. Like right away
Yes.
we're like didn't have to do any prep or anything like
Yeah.
that. Like right away, I think the chemistry was there with you, and likewise, right back at
Yeah.
you. Like we definitely feel that, and this has been great to record. Like we absolutely got to have you back on our show, because afterwards we were all like elated. We're like, oh my god, that was one of our best episodes ever. We had so much fun.
That was a lot of fun. Tell me, what does NXS? Where did you come up with that? Like, does that mean something? Is that an abbreviation for something?
I'm not gonna do it again. Every time I try to do it, every time I try to do the N, can I be the X? So it's a little double entendre.
That's
It's
easiest.
yeah. Every time I try to do the N, it's like, oh, that's a swastika.
Actually,
NXS
I
is a
think wait, is that backwards?
I was trying to do an S
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Wait,
That's actually not easy.
is
Wait,
that an N?
Oh, there you
No.
go. This looks like the Metroid like
Am I
logo.
doing the
why can't we do this?
That's an
Everybody-
H.
To anybody who's not watching and you're
How about
listening through your favorite podcast app, none of us can successfully make an N with our fingers or hands in any
I'm
way.
starting to get.
Yeah,
Oh,
It's a
no, there
shit
you go.
show.
that's why Kevin and I just kind of default to the X.
Yeah, it's easy. Wait, what if we did the? Jeez, I can't even do that anymore.
So while
remember
Kevin's
when
playing with his fingers, NXS it stands for represents Nintendo, Xbox, and Sony, and in excess, like gaming in excess. And
Yeah,
if we let Kevin have his way, it would be a 5-hour episode and it
Yes,
would be.
it would be.
So,
That's
Yeah.
clever.
Hey, that reminds me. Actually, no, I'm just kidding.
I didn't think to put together Nintendo, Xbox.
Yeah.
And Stadia, of course.
Which
and
is pretty
Stadia.
cool because look
Yeah,
what came
yeah.
in today. Now, this episode isn't going to air till November 17th, but we're recording this in mid-October. This is my Xbox Series X that just came in. So I
Woo! Nice.
finally, I'm waiting for the furniture to come in to put it together because I don't have room for a refrigerator and a 40-pound
Yes.
wireless
Get that fridge.
router.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would get the fridge for the beer. But yeah, now I am all like next gen ready. I got it
Yeah,
all.
perfect
Doing
timing
the
too
thing.
with Forza and Halo right around the corner. And
Yeah.
hey,
Oh, that's so
you got to get
exciting.
that Game Pass on that conversion deal. I don't know if you know about that, but we gotta let you know.
I
Yes.
will try. I've promised I will try Game Pass. So let's let the folks know where they can. In the comment section, I'll have a pin post, so you'll be able to do a link there where you can go and find the NXS Cast, and you can follow these guys on Twitter. So for the people who are listening, Dash, where can they go to find NXS Cast? Go ahead and share the Twitter handle and where folks can find you guys on YouTube.
Yeah, so you could find us at NXScast on Twitter. And then on YouTube, we are youtube.com/C/NXS Games. I don't know if we have to put the C in there for like channel, I guess. But yeah, NXS Games, and you'll find us. And the show that we do weekly is NXS Cast.
Okay, that should be pretty easy for folks to find. And where can folks follow you on the tweet?
Me, the individual, you can find me at Dash Revolver on Twitter. And yeah, I tweet out my new gaming buys, my memes, controversial opinions that rile the fanboys up on all
Mhm.
sides.
Yeah,
Or
It's
I
true.
think anything riles up the fanboys. Like you could be like,
That's
"Hey, I
true.
think the Nintendo thing is a little overpriced." Oh, you can't afford it?
Yeah, but you got
It's
one,
so
didn't you?
true.
You got a white OLED Switch, didn't you?
I got the white OLED. I'm talking
Yeah,
about the
you
new
did.
expansion pack that they announced.
Oh, I
I
got
can't
you.
wait
Yeah.
for
Like-
that, dude.
It's like $30 more than the regular thing
Yeah.
for like 6 Nintendo
It's
64
yeah,
games.
it's 50
like,
for a year.
eh.
Like, get over it.
Yeah, for real.
It's
Kevin,
50
where
for win back.
where can folks follow you on Twitter? Where can folks find you to follow you?
You can find me on Twitter at NXS Kevin.
NXS Kevin, not to be confused. That makes me think of the band. You remember NXS, the band?
Oh, yeah.
That's what we talked about when we,
Yeah.
when we first did it.
Thank- Jeremy, where can folks follow you? You don't post a lot. You're a little lurker.
Yeah, I'm more of a lurker. That is very true. But if
You're
you
a
do,
lurker.
once in a blue moon, like catch me actually posting something, typically
Catch
because
you outside.
Daniel tells me to, I should retweet some things. It's at
Get out and make
NXS
friends,
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
It's like my mom's birthday picture.
Alright.
I'm like, Jeremy, retweet this. No.
Jeremy, do it one more time. I spoke over you like a jerk.
Oh, yes, at NXS Jeremy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Kevin, but Jeremy.
Yes. Okay. And you can find me at C Smith Shine. So thank you so much, guys, for coming on the show and talking about the leading ladies that kick ass. And we will definitely have to do this again because this was a pretty rockin' fucking time.
This was so
Yes,
fun.
it
Thank you so
was.
much for having us.
Hell to the fuck yeah. So thank you so much for watching and listening. We will see you guys next week. My boys and I here are going to hang out for just a few minutes. Again, see you guys next week. Bye,
See you
everybody.
later.